Hey, welcome back. I'm Gary.
I'm Vonna.
And yeah, this is this update 2 or 3 for the Queen Sampler project sponsored by Sassy Jack Stitchery.
Yeah.
Is the second one or third one?
I think it's only the second one.
Yeah. Yeah, Vonna got really sick, so we were going to do one, and then she got so sick that you were headed to the hospital, so we recording a video about the Queen Sampler was way down on the list. So sorry folks, but and then I was going to post last night pictures of my stitching on Instagram, and I forgot to do that, so I'll do that today. I forget, I just forget. So
I try to do it every day.
Hmm?
I try to do it every day.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't.
And I'm so impressed with that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know you strive to be like me.
Yeah, every day. That's how it works. Yeah. Yeah. No, I forget. So like last night I finished stitching. I'll take a picture and post it, and then next thing I know I was in bed. Oh. Today. So okay, so we're cooking along here. Here's where I'm at. So I finished the 3 bands all the way, and I'm ready to start the Montenegrin stitch. And then you did the top. Yeah, you've done the Montenegrin all the way across.
Yeah.
And now,
just the top Montenegrin. See, can you get there?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so you've done that, and now you're starting to do is it double back stitch in the center?
Yeah, double back stitch.
Because there's 2 colors of that.
Right. So there's green, and then there's a brown.
Yeah,
and then MPI brown.
And then Montenegrin goes underneath that too.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's my project tonight is to start on the Montenegrin stitch. But so talking about these other bands, now you did in Linda Vincent's collection, you did version 1 of the reversible cross stitch. So that's an X. Look at that, how I make an X with my hand. See how that works?
I know.
Pretty talented.
Like carving
yeah.
fish.
Yeah. And then you always have each one has a side to it. That allows you to keep it reversible. So you have X's on the front and the back. And then I did X's on the front, and then on the back are squares. And that's version 4. So that's your front. Yeah, so you have X's on both sides. And then mine are squares.
Yeah.
So just different ways of doing it.
I think your acorns look better than mine.
Well, those are the back side. The back side is kind of crappy. But the front side I was pretty pleased with. Yeah. I think I'm going to tug on a few satin stitch threads just to kind of get them laid down better. So, yeah, so that was interesting because now when I did the reversible cross stitch, then I stitched upside down. I was looking at the back side, and I just made squares and let the X's happen. But with yours, it was X's both sides, so you could stitch front and back.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had to always think about where I was putting my needle, because I had to think about how my legs were laying on the back side.
Yeah.
But once I got it, I didn't even have to really think hard about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I didn't have to do that.
You didn't have to think hard?
No, I just had to make squares.
Yeah.
But I was pretty proud of myself when I did the second band here. I was getting to the point where I was able to do partials and travel. Like when you do X's, if you want to, like I always make my X's complete when I do regular cross stitch. But sometimes you'll do half an X and go out and then come back because you're really going to go that way, but you got this little stub or something. I got really comfortable doing that with these. So I was going like 3 or 4 squares over, just making one of the stitch, and then coming back and filling it in and coming back to where I needed to go. So like if you start with an eye down at the bottom, and so there was 2 and then a center one.
Oh.
So I wanted to go up the thing. So I would start here, do the center, go do this leg, come back, and then go up the top.
Oh.
So I was feeling pretty proud of myself because
yeah, that's good. I don't think that I did that.
No.
I just put a whole bunch of side things, either on the front or the back.
No.
But you really can't see them.
No.
If I look at them, you really can't tell.
No, and that's just it. You know, we get so freaked out in regular cross stitch about the top leg always going the same way. That can't happen with this at all. But then it doesn't matter because you can't see it.
No, not really at all. I'm still not happy with that yellow thread, though.
I'm not either. I'm not happy at all with the yellow
thread at all.
It doesn't. It's puffier, or it doesn't lay right. It's something about it. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either at all.
And it didn't matter. Yeah, both times I thought, oh, it'll get better on the third band, but it didn't. It's the same. There's something about that thread that's just different.
Yeah, it doesn't. And I've noticed that on several. I mean, on every thread, it seems like it behaves differently, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, I would agree. Everyone has a different characteristic. Because like the dark blue is definitely a different characteristic. So
yeah, the dark. I don't know. And then my favorite color is the red.
Yeah.
And the maroon. The maroon color and the red color.
Yeah.
I think, in the dark green.
Yes. But see that the blue, I guess it's blue, whatever color this is, that's the border top and bottom of the third band.
Yeah.
I felt like that stitched more like just regular DMC.
I will agree with you on that, yes.
Which is so weird because it's silk, but it just seemed to stitch like DMC. And that's such a simple stitch. You just go. Somebody asked me, and I answered them, but I think it's worth talking about here, asked about starting and stopping threads and how we're doing that on a reversible thing. And one of the things that has come out of this is, at least for me, is I feel like I've gotten more proficient at different ways of starting and stopping threads.
I would agree.
Yeah, depending on what it is, because like all these letters, those I did all with away knots.
Yeah.
All the way knots. The band above and below, that was all away knots, because you can't do a pin stitch on that because it has to be parallel lines on the back.
See, now mine's not parallel lines,
no.
Because you told me that they were wrong. See, mine is boxes, like.
Right.
And what did I do wrong?
I think you didn't follow the stitch path. You didn't follow the stitch path because it's down, and then you go straight across and go up. And then
I think I did the wrong. What is the stitch supposed to be?
Is
it double back stitch variation? These divide bands 3 and 4. Okay, so here it is. Double back stitch. Double back stitch. Oh yeah, so that's supposed to be 2 parallel lines, because that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm doing here below the Montenegrin line is double back stitch. And you know what stitch I did? I did double back stitch variation.
Oh.
That's what I think I did.
It's the same stitch. Yeah, it's the same stitch that we did up here. You just do it all the same on the front.
Oh. Well, see, I think that, where is it? It said double back stitch, and I did, because, see, here it is. Double back stitch variation is the first, and this is what happened, because this is Vonna being dumb and too fast. I was looking for double back stitch, a double back stitch. And I got to the first set of illustrations and I saw double back stitch and I just thought, there it is. And I started doing it and it's not double back stitch. It's
No.
it's not double back stitch variation. It's double back stitch.
Right.
So anyways, that was my bad. And guess what? I'm not changing it.
Yes, because it's on page, the one that you do is on page 13.
Yeah, and see, I
It's
did the
this
one that's
one.
on page 4.
It's that
Yeah.
one right there.
Yeah.
And then see, when you do that, then you get two parallel lines. It's just like at the top.
Yeah, and see, I did not do that. I did double back stitch variation, which is on page 4, because I thought, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is, double back stitch variation.
Yeah.
Thought that's it right there. And then when I was, and I'll tell you what, this whole same terminology flummoxed me on this vine because I was like, well, that double back stitch, and then I went looking through it again, and I was like, this first, I just don't think that, and now this is, maybe it's me, and I'm not being critical, but I feel like there should be like double back stitch, look at page so-and-so for the stitch, you know what I mean? There's not like really, look at this, look over here on page whatever, or illustration X or whatever. And I feel like the pattern would be a little bit nicer if that was more like user friendly, especially for people like don't know what the hell they're doing like me. because
Well, but I think that's a function, because the copyright on the original Darlene Osteen is 2003.
right.
See, I think that's a function of what's happened since then in terms of instruction.
Right.
And so today, yes, if someone wrote that, it would say go to page such and such and do this stitch.
Right.
But that wasn't, as you go further back in time, instructions get more cryptic.
Exactly. And I'll be honest with you. So how I should have done this before. Like on everything, just cross-reference that terminology with the proper stitch. But when I got to this Montenegrin vine, see, I researched and was reading about it long before I ever put needle to fabric on this. And I kept on reading the directions over and over, which isn't very like big on that. I mean, that's a big band and there's not very many directions.
Right.
And I read it and then I thought, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I read it again and then I was like, what is that? I was like, I don't know what that means. And then I looked through it and I saw that one on page 14. And I think by that time you had said you didn't do that stitch right. You had sent me a text saying that. And I was like, well, what is double back stitch? And so I went here and then I was like, okay. So I have really been following, rather than the stitch guides in the Queen Sampler, I have been really following this more.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with what you did, because it's boxes on the back side. So it's a reversible piece. It's just a different look.
Right.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I mean,
you're not tearing it out, so you're not tearing it out, so it's perfect.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not changing it. Yeah, it's good. It's good enough for me. But I will say, if y'all are stitching, I think a good recommendation. Do you have this?
No, I didn't buy it. No, Beth, I didn't buy it.
I'm telling you. Fiber Talk didn't make you buy it, I guess.
No,
because
that's a CD, right? So then you printed it all out and made a notebook out of it. Yeah.
Right.
I'm pointing at it like as if people can see that I'm pointing at you. But
that's right.
Because show me. Let me see what one of those pages looks like. Not the cover. I got that.
Here it is. Like what the stitch guides look like.
Yeah. Oh, that's just like in here then.
Very similar.
Yeah.
But what's so nice is that she says if you say, what is a running back stitch? Then you go over here to this, and then you just look up. It has like straight stitch family, cross stitch family, satin stitch family. And then you just go down and find, oh, double running back stitch, page 63. Then you go over to page 63, and then it's just like right here. And then, you can just follow, you just follow it.
Yeah.
And that's what I really have I mean, it's easy for my brain to compute when I can just like know what the name is and then go to it and then know that I'm doing the exact right thing, because that's been my problem in the pattern, is that I get confused on terminology, I think. And am I looking at the right thing, or am I not looking at the right thing? But that's probably my ineptitude, not necessarily what everybody else that's reading the pattern would have a problem with, but I have a problem with that. So.
Well, and I don't know about that, because every band I have literally sat down with the book, the charts that we bought, and I have just mentally gone through and stitched it all out. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and I think that you have to, especially like these acorns, I think you have to sit down and figure that all out, and then go to your doodle cloth if you're going to do it reversible, because you got to be careful with those satin stitches that you get the same amount on the back. And no, I don't know that it's an aptitude. I think you really are smart, unless you've been doing like this forever, to sit down and map that all out in your head and mentally go through it, then use the doodle cloth before you start this, because if you don't, you can get messed up in a hurry.
I'll tell you what, those acorns, I mean, I did them on my doodle cloth and thought I was right, and then I went and did them on my band, and then after that first, so I guess this is our third queen video, because it was after our first video when I said, see, I've got acorns going, and then that night I was like, these acorns did not look like the picture, and then I started looking, and it was just another thing, I hadn't read the freaking directions. And so that was another problem. And I was going to say this to people too. I have found this particularly important, that I think this was like it was page number 2 in Linda's Stitch Guide. And it's important to have like 50 copies of these scattered all over the book, because when you're reading on Darlene's pattern and it has the triangle, and then Darlene says the triangle is like 4913, and then you go over here and it's like, no, wait a minute, the triangle that we're stitching is MPI 302. So I have these like plastered everywhere in my book and on my sticky board and all of that, because it's like I get confused, and I think you've gotten confused with numbers too.
Well, I was confused because I looked at the Darlene Osteen chart, and then I wrote to Kim and said, hey, I need all of these colors. I didn't get the right ones.
Right.
And then I just tripped over this one. Well, actually, it's the one that Kim had sent a copy of, because she sent, I took, when I was at the shop, I had most of the order, and then she had to fill in. So she sent the copy, which was what she was working off. And then I tripped over this. This is the one I use. So then I don't even keep this in the notebook. I just keep this out on the table so that I'll be sure and follow Linda Vinson's.
Right.
Because threads that were original don't exist anymore. So, or she shifted them, but a lot of them don't exist anymore. And so you got to follow her chart. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that you have to remember when you're stitching this, because you'll think, I have done it more than one time where I'm like, okay, I have the number in my head, 4913. I'm like, wait a minute, we don't have any 4913. What, and then it's like, wait a minute, you idiot. It's, look what it is on the Darlene chart, and then go to this one and figure it out. I've like printed them, like, I know I have like 6 or 7 copies of this, and I just have put it all through like the book, and then I have one on my magnetic board because, because.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of threads, I talked to Kim yesterday because the tatting thread for the white work, she has not been able to get a reliable source for that. So what she has done is she's found a linen thread. I mean, she's talked to people at Access Commodities and other places. She's found a linen thread and then some kind of silk thread that didn't make any sense to me. I'd never heard of it. And so she has both of those in the shop, and she's going to test this weekend and see how they work, so that anybody she owes who bought a kit from Sassy Jacks, anybody she owes white work thread, then she's going to send out one, the other, or both. I'm not sure how it's going to go out, but she wants to test them first. So she's found an alternative. One is a linen, one is a type of silk that people have said this will work. This is a good choice for white work. So that's coming. So if she owes you thread, white work thread, that's coming as soon as she's sure that what she sends out will work.
Okay.
So that's that's coming up. So anybody that is owed that, she hasn't forgotten. It's coming.
Okay.
She just wants to make sure that when she sends it out, it's going to work and it doesn't all come back. So
right.
Fair enough on that.
Yeah.
But she hasn't forgotten. So yeah. I wanted to mention on the when we talked the other day or a week ago or so about, you were talking about making ornaments out of motifs from samplers.
Right.
For Christmas tree. When I was stitching the acorn thing, I kept thinking this enlarged in some way would make a terrific bell pull. Because you could stitch it reversibly, and you would so it wouldn't matter how the bell pull was hanging, and I think it would be beautiful. And you could select like fall colors or Christmas colors or whatever, and would make it just that band would make a great bell pull.
Yeah, it sure would.
And then there's got to be some way that you could finish the edges so it would look.
Yeah, I would do a quilting binding is what I would do, like a quilt binding just along the edge. And I think I'd probably do it in white or whatever color the linen was, and do it that way. Yeah, you're right. That would be beautiful. I don't know, you would probably have to, to make it larger, you'd probably have to stitch it on a pretty large count over so many threads, don't you think?
Yeah, I think what I think I would do is if I wanted a bell pull that's say 3 foot long, I think I'd look at something like maybe Congress cloth or like a 12 or 13 Ada or something. And then I'd probably go to a pearl.
Yeah. Yeah.
A 5 or 8 pearl cotton, because then you could stitch one strand.
Right.
I figured out so you could stitch one strand, but then you get that nice sheen that you get with a pearl cotton, and it would look good both sides. I think it'd be beautiful.
Yeah, I do too. I agree with you.
Because the patterns on there, on the acorns, especially on the cup part, it's just that checkerboard pattern is just really neat.
It is. I really do like that. I mean, that band, we all know I had to stitch that like 50 times, but once I got it right, it really is pretty.
Yeah. But that's just one of those, and they're doing it reversibly would not just be the exercise in learning how to do it. There would be a true benefit, because with a bell pull hanging from a cord or something where they'll turn around.
Right.
Wouldn't matter what shows. Yeah.
No. Right.
That'd be beautiful. And if you're really ambitious, you could do one for each season, holidays. You could do any number of things.
Yeah, you're right. You could.
Yeah. So that just occurred to me while I was stitching it.
Good idea.
That's my insight for the day. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
And then we have you've talked about the Amy Mitten book, Autopsy of a Montenegrin Stitch. That's the book that we're talking about.
Right.
And it's just this little thing, but that's the book we're talking about. The exhumed means she brought it back because she quit printing it, and she brought it back for this. But then you were telling me about how you close pinned off the pages
Yeah, I didn't bring my clothespin, dang it. But what, okay, so when I started stitching this Montenegrin band here, you know, I had myself all psyched out. And I think you knew that. That's how come I started
Yeah.
looking at it, because
I think everybody knew that.
yeah, everybody knew it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And so I sat down, and you just have like maybe, you know, 5 or 6 stitches right here starting out.
Yeah.
And so you
Everybody
just,
look at Vonna. I'm going to take a drink out of a great big mug.
so, you know, you have to learn about the compensating to end off, you know, to end it off at the end, you know, at the beginning, and yada, yada. And so it's like, okay, so here's my horizontal, okay? And Amy Minton has really done a fantastic job of, like, you don't even really have to read. As long as you can like interpret up and down and horizontal, you're like good to go. Because then it was like, okay, so then the next part was I had gone horizontal. Now I have to go up and diagonal. So then all you do is you go through your book and you look for the going from horizontal to diagonal, up diagonal. And so I would go through here, see, sort of like I'm doing right now, and it would get frustrating because you would use the same one over and over and over and over. You know, you would use the just different different things. So here's going from merging from horizontal to up. So I learned after like flipping through 1,000 times to just put a clothespin on this so I could just like flip to those pages. And then you would have to go horizontal again. So you go back to horizontal. Then it was horizontal to diagonal down. And then it was like, well, where's that? I saw that. Oh, well, here's that. You know, then it was horizontal again, go back to horizontal. So it was just like a lot of flipping back and forth. And so I just finally was like, this is baloney. I'm just pinning this so that I can flip right away to the 4 basic stitches that I needed, which was horizontal to diagonal up, horizontal again, horizontal to diagonal down, horizontal again, horizontal diagonal up, horizontal, and then horizontal down. That was the only 4 stitches that you use.
Because there's the horizontal, and then there's a transition,
right,
to make the angle. That's a pattern unto itself.
yes,
and then you go up the angle, then you got to transition back and across, and then transition down. So everyone, and that's the cool thing about this book, is she shows how to do every single bit of that.
Yes. And it's not hard. If you can like follow numbers and arrows, no problem. I mean,
Yeah.
she has done this is fantastic. I don't know how anybody could do this without this, to be honest with you. I do not know, because Darlene has very nice stitch diagrams, but it does not really talk about the merging up and the merging down and the angles and stuff, whereas Amy Minton has like dissected every part of that, and it's just made it a snap. And I was so scared of the Montenegrin stitch, and I caught on to it just like that. Now then, and I told you this, and I alluded to it in our fiber talk, but this double back stitch, what is it? Is it, let me look at it real quick. It is diagonal double back stitch, 2 rows of double back stitch and diagonal double back stitch. Okay, so the double back stitch is not hard, right? It's just 2 parallel lines, okay? But when it comes to these diagonals, oh my goodness, that is like hard. And then because there's all that transition on the corner to go diagonal, and it is kind of discussed in the stitch, or not discussed, but it's shown in the stitch guides. And my head was hurting so bad the other night when I was trying this. And then I also believe that because it's diagonal, you have to go over more than 2 stitches on the diagonal to get it diagonal up against the Montenegrin diagonal. Maybe I'm wrong. because I'm not doing anything until Gary gets to this point, because I could be wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong, because I have done it over and over and over and over again. And it's like, I don't see how, I think that if there are some spots where you have to go over more than 2 threads to get it to work on the diagonal. I don't know.
Oh.
But anyways, I got it. I've got the double, you see the running lines there, the double running lines. And,
well, see, that tells me something right there, doesn't it? That you're so clean on the back that it should be okay, right?
I hope it is. But, I'll tell you what, following the stitch diagrams, did I tell you that? I think I told you this. Following the stitch diagrams, I was like so confused the other night, and I was getting really frustrated. And then finally I thought, you know, Gary said he just turned over and did it from the backside and did squares. I'm just going to turn this over and just do parallel lines. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
Every time I got to these transitions, I couldn't figure it out. I mean, I could not figure it out. And I just turned it over and did did diagonal line, or, you know, parallel lines. And I turned it back and was like, wow, looky there. Looks great. I'm going with it. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, see, I got that. Yeah, I got that that class that Nicola Parkman, Hands Across the Sampler, did at Sassy Jack's, because I forget what stitch it was where she suggested that she just flipped it over and stitched it backwards, because her head, it worked better. And I think that's one of the fun things about this is, like you said it, so many of the rules just go out the window.
Yeah.
And you just find the way that works for your head to get the job done. And
that's right.
That's the way
and
you do it.
You know, would I not have challenged myself to stitch it reversibly? I don't know that I would have learned as much as what I'm learning.
Yeah.
Doing. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of glad. Well, no, I'm not kind of glad. I am glad that I challenged myself to stitch it reversibly, because, and will I get it framed reversibly? I don't know. I might just take a picture of it and then that's that. I don't know. I'm to the point that, you know, I'm beyond that. I don't even care if people know that it's reversible. I know it is. And I know that it's really, I think I might, if it looks halfway decent, do it reversibly, but that's not what my primary goal is. My primary goal is just to learn how to do it and feel good about myself. And I think I am feeling pretty good about myself. I really do. And I'm feeling better about these double back stitches now that you said, well, I think it looks good if it looks as clean on the back as yours does. So awesome. Maybe I did do it right. I don't know. But I will say that for people that haven't gotten to this band yet, 2 things that you can know about this is that Montenegrin stitch is not that scary with Amy Mitten's book. And if you don't have Amy Mitten's book, what are you thinking? Go buy Amy Mitten's book, because you need it. And then second of all is that double back stitch is hard, and I don't know about that. I don't know if that's right, but the go away with this is that I had myself psyched out, and don't make yourself psyched out, because it's not that bad, really.
No. And see, and double back stitch, the one that makes parallel lines, this one.
Yeah.
That's just mindless stitching.
Right, until you get to the corners.
Well, I haven't done the corners yet.
Yeah, and then the corners are like suck. That's the corners suck.
Okay.
Because then you had, okay, so the double back stitch, where is that? So there's like all these see, so like here's double back stitch on the corner. See, you can see it right here on the corners. See right there?
Yeah.
That's
what page is that on?
And then down, and then this one down.
Oh, here I see it.
See this one right here. And then it's like, look at that. It's like you're traveling over 3 threads, and it's just hard.
Okay.
And so, and the diagonal double back stitch, see, this is what makes me nervous is that it's only over 2 threads there. And that made me nervous when I was stitching it. That's why I don't think it's right.
Oh, Oh, I see.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
So
I
you're
don't know.
saying this down here
No.
or this one?
Yeah, that. Wait a minute. I'm saying this one right here where it goes double back stitch, like double back stitch 3, where it goes from horizontal to vertical.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying? That sucks.
oh, that right there.
Yes. Yeah. On page 13.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Number
double
3.
back stitch 2, because the double back stitch 2 goes from horizontal down.
Yeah.
And then the double back stitch 3 goes from horizontal up and then
Yeah,
horizontal.
but if you're following this, it should work out. And
Well,
clearly, well, you had to do it right because you have parallel lines.
yes, doing this on my doodle cloth was just like, oh yeah, no problem. But then you come over here and do it over here, and you're like buzzing along, bub it up, and you get to that corner, and it's like, oh, and you start doing this double back stitch 3 going up, and it's like, wait a minute. I'm doing this, but it's not buttoned up against my Montenegrin stitch. And so then it was like,
so
wait a minute.
that's where it's freaking you out, is it's not buttoned up.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
And so that was the problem. So I don't know.
But did you get it to butt up against it? Did you compensate to make it?
I got it to butt up against it. See, on the diagonal, when you're going on a diagonal, it's hard to count the threads. And I don't have enough light here to see. But maybe it is, maybe I did only do it across 2 threads. I don't know. I can't really, I mean, if you look at it right there, those look equal, right? They look like they're equal. See, what worries me is that these look thin up here, but so does the Montenegrin stitch look thinner than the side one. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's because you're going diagonal.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, I'll be curious to try.
Yeah.
Tonight.
And then the one thing that I do know for a fact is that I counted all of this on the Montenegrin over and over and over and over to make sure that I had the right amount of stitches. And I did. So I know I'm right, and I have enough space up here and yada yada. So I hope I'm okay, because see, if I'm not okay, then all of this stuff, like these leaves and that's all going to be off.
Right. You're probably all right.
I hope I'm all right.
Yeah.
I might. Right. But anyways, the Montenegrin stitch isn't bad. I have had the most problem with the double back stitch.
Yeah, and just because you were trying to butt it up against the Montenegrin.
Right, because it was like I kept on doing, I did it 3 times, and each time I was like 1 thread off, and I was finally like, I'm not even going to pay attention to this thing. I'm just going to do parallel line, and that's what I did. And then it was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to keep on going.
Yeah. Well, I'll be curious now to see that. I wanted to get back to, we wrap this up, but I want to get back to the question that the lady had about starting and stopping. Because, using away knots so that you can have each individual letter, no carryover letter to letter on either side. And then, and then you finish off threads a lot of the time on the front, which is weird.
Yeah.
But
I kind of like that, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I do too.
Right. So yes, you finish it. Yeah, so that's what I said in my response is you finish off on the front. You don't finish on the back, because if you finish reversible cross stitch on the back, you'd wreck all those boxes. So you can't do that. And if you finish on the front, it's so dense that you can't see it.
Right.
So, and then on the acorns, then that's just pin stitch under the satin.
Yeah.
That's just a simple either pin or L. I think sometimes I use the L stitch. It doesn't matter what it is, because it's under the satin and you'll never see it. But I think one of the things is you get pretty versatile at beginning and ending stitches in different ways.
Yes. And hiding how you're starting them or hiding
Right.
how you're ending them.
Yeah.
Without it detracting from the front or the back.
Right. So you have, for me at least, you haul out different techniques for beginning and ending depending on the situation, so they don't show. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is it's not no harm in knowing different ways.
No, and I didn't know about away knots. I knew about waist knots, but I did not know about away knots, and so I had a hard time understanding all of that. But I'll tell you, in the proper stitch, so in here, one of the very first things that she addresses is in stitching techniques is away knots and waist knots and changing threads and all of that. So that's nice. You know what I mean? That was really that's how. And then you, in one of our shows, you had talked about the difference between away knots and waist knots, and I thought a waist knot was a waist knot was a waist knot. I didn't realize that there was a different type between waist knots and away knots. And so that has been a learning thing for me too. And I mean, I almost feel like, wow, away knots, those are awesome. I almost, yeah, I like them a lot. I do really like them a lot. And I like ending my thread on the front too. And I've learned a lot of ways of how to hide your threads underneath stitches on the front.
Yeah.
Especially on these Montenegrin stitches. And then you have to think about how you end them without pulling a leg. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
yeah, I've gone in there after ending one many a time with a needle and pulled that back because I pulled too hard.
Massaged it out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. You bet. Yeah. Because it really does show. So you got to be careful. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, you get really versatile. I think that's the fun thing about this in general is the skills already in 3 bands that I feel either I've developed or gotten much better at just to make this work. And so for me, that's worth it right there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, okay. Oh, I wanted to show, I did a video a long time ago with Mary McGuire, a friend of mine who's at the Fox Needlepoint Guild. And we absolutely laughed ourselves hysterical over these pliers that she has. They're called Wubbers. Wubbers. And I'll show them. They're just these little pliers. And the inside is smooth. See, there's no teeth. And they're handy to have. They're just these little tiny pliers. They're handy to have. And where I've used them from time to time is, you know how you can't get a needle to come through because the stitching is so tight, and you pull, and some people will get little rubber fingertip things and all kinds of things. These things are fantastic for that because they don't have any teeth, so they don't scar up your needle. And you can grab that needle and pull it right through and get a good grip on it. And I don't know what they cost. Mary gave me this one, but it's Wubbers, and I found them handy to have around for any kind of work, particularly needlepoint where you're dealing with some pretty things. But last night, and the reason I brought it up is last night as I was pulling through on the double back stitch. One was particularly tight, and I was having trouble getting the needle to go through. Just grab that and you just pull it right through. But those are just a little tool to have around. I just have this one pair. Mary has like a collection, but handy to have around for that kind of thing. So just wanted to mention that.
Well, thanks. Thanks for that. Are they on Amazon? You want me to look real quick?
Really? You have to ask that question?
I'm going to look real quick.
I'm sure they are. Wubbers. Wubbers.
Wubbers. Why, yes, they are.
Yeah. And there's different sizes and shapes.
Yeah. There sure are.
But I just think it's a handy tool to have. And I never thought I'd like to use this on needles, on good quality needles, because I don't want to scar up the needle. But
Right.
I've not had that happen. And I've been able to grab right on and pull. I don't know why I always have to show grabbing on and pull when I say that, but I feel compelled to do this each and every time.
We don't know how to do them.
Because they're not real expensive, are they?
Yeah, they're kind of. What size? You know what size you have? Does it have on there?
No.
Well, like sell them. There's a 7mm one here, and they're $25.
Oh, mine is stem to stern is 2 3/4 inches.
Here they are.
I can't.
Rubbers, and it is about $22.95.
Okay.
And there's only 10 in stock, so people, you got to go out there and get them.
Buy quick. Well, yeah, they're a quality tool. They're not cheaply made, so that's not a bad price for something like that. No, they're not cheaply made. I mean, they're really quality. So anyway, and you can never have enough tools. So I'm just saying.
That's right.
Add another one to the deal, because I always keep a pair of tweezers.
I do too.
And
that's what I usually pull my needle through with is tweezers.
But these are more effective than tweezers because you can get a better grip.
And then pull it out.
See, I'm showing the motion. This is the motion. This is the training part. This is the motion. You grab and pull. See how that works? Yeah.
You are a very good wubber.
You're welcome. There's no charge. There's no charge for this training. And you can pull both ways. See, you can go this way too.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
It's a multi-tool. It's a multi-tool.
Right. Yeah. So there you go. Mm-hmm. All free. No charge whatsoever. Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. I'm so glad for that.
You're welcome. Okay, that's enough.
All right.
That's enough. So that's where we're at. Watch Instagram. Vonna Pfeiffer and Fiber Talk are the Instagram accounts, and I promise I'll get better at posting. I just don't think about it. And this is the 1-inch needle minder right here.
Yeah, I need to get me some of those 1-inch needle minders.
Yeah.
Those are really cute.
I know somebody who could send you some.
Okay, great.
I'll talk to him.
All right, thank you.
Actually, I'll talk to her because I'm not sending them. I'll talk to her, have her send them. But yeah, see, and I put a 3/4 inch magnet on the back. So you get full coverage out of that. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
they are awfully cute.
Yeah, I know a person who will fire some off to you.
They are really cute. I like my big guy though.
Well, that I actually use that more, the big 2-inch one. Yeah.
I like it because you can see I've got like all kinds of needles on there.
That's what I do. Yeah. Splay needles all over the place. Yeah.
And the magnets are really strong too.
Yeah. So, okay, so we'll be watching, and as you can see, as long as we've gone, if you want to go to Sassy Jack's and get the kit from Kim, with if you have a few hours, you can get caught up. You won't be that far behind. And this isn't a stitch along anyway, but
a few hours. It's going to be more than a few hours.
Okay, 242 hours.
Probably like, if you did dedicated stitching on it and you got the hang of it, I would say within 2 weeks, and you would be caught up.
Yeah, if you could pound right away at it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can pound right away and listen to all the mistakes and not make the ones that I've made, you would go a lot faster.
Yeah, because we both have several rip outs.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the doodle cloth. It's been worked over a little bit already. Yeah.
But yours doesn't look bad. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Mine doesn't look bad because I tore a bunch out because I needed more room.
Oh.
That's why. Yeah, no.
But anyways, I have so enjoyed this. Or honestly, I have.
Yep. I think it's worth every bit, every minute. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. We're done.
Right.
That's our update.
Okay.
I don't know. Next week after, we'll be back with another one of these extravaganzas.
Awesome.
Then we'll be Montenegrin experts.
I hope so. I hope I got that band done by then.
I think that goes on the resume. If you can do the Montenegrin, that's a resume caliber thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Capable of performing the
Yeah.
Montenegrin stitch.
So you have like your jobs, you know, your full-time jobs down at the bottom, Montenegrin expert. And then that catches their attention, you get the interview.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
what?
What? I want to talk to him even just to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that? Yep. That's enough. Okay, thanks for listening.
Bye.